Many years ago, in the beautiful city of Lagos, there lived a young lady whose name was Mira. Mira was so beautiful, and she worked in an oil and gas firm. You know those type of firms where the young ladies will be walking on 6 inches heels and wear short skirts and all of that. Those bougie kind of office where everybody is trying to speak phone and trying to sound like an Americana. That was the kind of office that Mira worked in, and she was so happy. And her salary, she was earning over 1 million naira monthly. And for a single lady of just 23 years old, that was a lot of money to her. However, despite all the money that Mira earned, Mira was a very stingy person. She was even stingy to her own self. Rather than shop in regular shops, regular boutiques, nothing high end, just simple shops and simple boutiques where you can still get affordable dresses. No way. Mira would prefer to go inside Katangwa market where she will have to pass through mud, dirty water, dip her feet in dirty water and all of that, and where she will have to struggle with every other person and be bending down and be picking okrika clothes. She would literally be struggling with other women who had come to buy clothes. All the sweat from their armpits on their body would be rubbing all over her face and her body. But Mira did not mind though. All she cared for was that she was able to get it at a very cheap rate. Sometimes she would get beautiful corporate gowns for 200 naira, 250 naira, 100 naira. That was the kind of clothes that Mira would go and buy right inside Katangwa market. And she would spend over 7 hours to and fro from her house to the market and from the market back. Mira did not see it that she was wasting her time. In her mind, she was saving money. She was being very frugal and she was proud of herself for it. And that was not all, though. Even though Mira could comfortably buy fresh food, as in proper groceries like milk, sugar, cornflakes, Milo, Golden Moon, fresh normal food and the rest of it, Mira would prefer to go and buy industrial milk in the markets, those ones that are usually exposed in basins and that are measured in cups. She would prefer to go and buy industrial milk, buy industrial sugar, ensure everything in her house was industrial. Plus the Milo to the cornflakes, so they will have to measure for her. Because she felt it was a way of saving money, forgetting that the milk, the Milo, they were all exposed and unhygienic. But did it end there? No. Now, instead of her to buy fresh tomatoes, fresh pepper, and onions, and the rest of that, Mira would leave those vendors that are selling fresh, strong, ripe tomatoes and will go to the ones that are selling spoiled tomatoes, those ones that are soggy and already spoiling and already have white stuff all over it. Those are the ones she will go and buy because it was way cheaper. And was that all? No. Instead of Mira to buy fresh chicken that was just killed, Mira would prefer to go to the vendor who was selling dead chicken, not knowing what has even killed the chicken, what made the chicken die, whether it was bird flu or whatsoever. She did not care. She would rather buy dead chicken to use and cook for herself because she was trying to save money, because it was cheaper than buying a live chicken that was just killed. The only thing that Mira managed to do right was to rent and live in a beautiful home. Aside that, she was living like a pauper. And it was not very long that she began to reap the consequences of her actions because she took the same attitude to her friendship. Each time she hung out with her friends, Anu and Linda, she will order different varieties of dishes. But as soon as she sighted the waiter approaching them with the bill, she would immediately excuse herself and get up and pretend as if she needed to go to the restroom, all in a bid to avoid contributing to pay for what she ate. And at the end of the day, it would be either Anu or Linda that would have to pay the bill. And it was only a matter of time for her friends to stop hanging out with her because they saw her as a leech. For crying out loud, she was earning so well. She was earning way higher than them, yet she could not bring out her own money to spend. Mira was a nutcase. And even when she fell sick, the only reason that Mira would even go to the hospital was because her company had provided her health insurance. But in some cases, when she went to the hospital and she was informed that her insurance would only cover about 80% of the bill and that she would have to pay out of pocket for the remaining 20%. For example, let's say that her total medical bill was 120,000 naira. And the hospital tells Mira that her insurance would only cover 80%, which was 108,000 naira, and ask her to pay the balance of 12,000 naira out of pocket. But rather than Mira to bring out that 12,000 naira and pay the outstanding balance out of pocket, she would forfeit her whole medication and then go outside to all these women that used to hawk agbo and buy local medicine agbo of 200 naira or 300 naira and drink. But despite all this her terrible behavior, there was just one person that really understood her, and that was her best friend Chinaza. Chinaza saw beyond all the nonsense that she was doing, and she really did love her. So each time they hung out, maybe they went out to go and eat, Chinaza would gladly pay. And usually, Mira would want to do all those her tactics of excusing herself to go to the bathroom just so she wouldn't pay. But then Chinaza would just look at her and say, hey, where are you going to? Eh? You want to run away so that I'll pay for the meal? Sit down, Jare. I will pay. We've been best friends for how many years? 7 years. Sit down. There's no need running away. Don't worry. I will pay. Chinaza will say, and they will both burst out into laughter. Chinaza was a true friend indeed. And each time she visited Mira at home, she would buy groceries and fresh foods anytime she came visiting. Because she knew her friend. She knew that her friend was stingy even to herself. She knew that Mira would rather go and buy expired tin tomatoes, stale bread, expired fruits that the store is about to throw away and would rather sell at a cheaper price. So each time she was visiting Mira, she made it a point of duty to bring her fresh foods, fresh whole foods. And Mira would just receive it from her and be smiling like a fish as she thanks her. Chinaza was really a good friend and would always speak to her friend Mira and say, Mira, you earn way more than me. For crying out loud, my salary is just 250,000. You earn over 1,000,000 naira. That's at least times 4. So what exactly do you even do with your money? You don't have any husband, you don't have children, you're not sending money home and all of that. Why are you living like this? Why are you living like a pauper? Ha! You're living like a beggar, you're suffering. You only eat spoiled food, stale foods and all of that. Look at me that earns 1/4 of what you earn. Yet, I have a better standard of living than you do. What do you really do with your money? Please just tell me. Indulge me. Let me know. Chinaza said, looking very worried. Then Mira would reply and say, my friend, I know you are worried about me or you're worried for me, but do not disturb yourself. Do not bother. See, I am saving for my future. I am saving for my future. I am suffering now so that my future will be bright, so that in the next 20 years, I'll become a millionaire in dollars. That is what I'm looking at. That is the kind of future that I want. See, very soon, I'll become like Jeff Bezos. I'll become like Mark Zuckerberg. I will be rich. And then you will be proud of me. You'll be saying, yes, that's my friend. I knew when she suffered. I knew how she suffered. These are my days of little beginning. I have to pay the price now so that I don't pay the price forever. Mira would reply confidently. Then Chinaza would look at her and say, okay, no wahala. But then remember that you will need to be alive to enjoy the future that you are saving for. Besides, all these people that you mentioned did not get rich by saving like this and by suffering themselves. They got rich by actually producing a solution for a problem that they saw, producing products and services that were valuable, that they could exchange for money. That was how they got rich, not by suffering the way you are suffering. And this your stinginess will put you in trouble one day. Oh, it will put you in trouble. Don't say I did not tell you. Oh, Chinaza said, looking very concerned. But Mira never took her friend's advice. As a matter of fact, she carried this same dirty attitude into her relationships. One of the men that she had dated was Ame. Ame really loved Mira, like he really loved her. And their relationship initially was doing just well. But then, this her nonsense, frugal, stingy behavior had made him call off the relationship. One day, Ame had taken his girlfriend Mira on a lunch date, for them to just eat, gist, and spend some quality time together. And after they were done, as they walked out of the restaurant, he just tipped the waiter that had served them. And then Mira cited it. Then as soon as they stepped out of the restaurant, she just pretended and said, "Oh, babe, I actually forgot my hand key at the table where we ate. Let me just go back quickly and rush in and just get it. I'll be back. Just wait for me in the car." Mira said as she dashed back into the restaurant. Immediately she entered the restaurant, she went straight to that waiter, looked at him and said, "How much did my man give you? Return it now." Mira said angrily. Then the waiter, who was confused, looked at her and said, "Madam, na just 2K oh. Oga give me just 2K and I'm not giving you." The waiter replied. And so Mira began to drag the waiter, screaming, "Give me back the money that my man gave you. Give me back the 2K that my man gave you." Mira was practically causing a scene. Everyone was just watching. And the waiter was hell-bent. That was his tip for good service, for customer service, for smiling and responding promptly. So he looked at her and said, "Madam, I know they give anything. Now money where Oga give me. Oga dash me money. No be you dash me. I know they give you shingbai." The waiter said. And this was how Mira continued to hold on tightly to his clothes, demanding for the 2K that her man had just tipped the waiter. Meanwhile, Ame was busy waiting for her inside the car. And so he got worried she was taking more time than usual. So he came back into the restaurant to check what was keeping Mira, only for him to be met by the chaos. He saw his girlfriend Mira holding tightly to the waiter's clothes, and he was so confused. So people around and the waiter had to narrate everything to him and explain what had transpired. He was so embarrassed. He felt like the floor should just open up and swallow him. What was ordinary 2K that his girlfriend would embarrass him like this in public? And so because of that, they quarreled for over 3 weeks. It took Mira a lot of begging, apologizing, love bombing, petting, and all of that for him to finally forgive her and come around for causing such embarrassment to him. As if that was not enough, another time, he had taken Mira to his colleague's wedding as his babe, as his girlfriend. He had taken her along as his plus one to his colleague's wedding. So while the couple were dancing, partying and dancing, as a sure friend now, he came out to spray money on his colleague who was the groom. Before he knew what was happening, before he could say Jack Robinson, he saw his girlfriend, his babe, kneeling down on the floor and packing the money that he was spraying. She was packing it and putting it inside her purse. At some point, her purse got filled up and she was stashing it into her bra. Ame was so embarrassed because everybody was looking at him. I was like, who is this one? Who is this one? Hey, he didn't even know how to leave where he was. And you see, that was the final straw that broke the camel's back, because that was what made him end the relationship with Mira. Mira cried and cried, wept and wept. And of course, her friend Chinaza was the one that consoled her, saying, "But I told you now, Mira, this your behavior, you need to stop. You need to, Shiba, I told you that this habit will put you in trouble. What is 2K that you cannot leave for a waiter? And why will you be picking money at a wedding reception? When just because it is your man that is spraying the money. So you are picking it and disgracing yourself and stashing it in your bra." Wow. But sorry. It's okay. Don't worry. A better man will come your way, Chinaza said, as she tried to comfort and console her friend. But apparently, Mira did not learn her lesson because she still carried this gutter behavior into the next relationship with Femi. Femi did not even have patience with Mira at all. At the first mistake that she made, he broke up with her. And this was how Mira had lost several relationships due to her habit of being stingy. Yet, she did not learn her lesson. Rather, each time she breaks up with her partner, she would go and cry for hours. Then after crying for hours, she would go to her bedroom, then lift up the rug on the floor, because beneath it was a hole that she had created where she stored and hid all the money that she made. You would not believe that Mira did not save her money in the bank. She did not even invest her money, maybe in stocks, shares, or buying land, or something reasonable. Instead, Mira was hiding her money in a hole in her room. So each time they pay her her salary, she would remove a bulk of it and come and put it in that hole. So each time she broke up with her partner, due to her stinginess, she would go to that hole, open it up, and be looking at the money and be using to rub her face, to wipe her tears, and be consoling herself. She'll be saying things like, "Mira, nobody understands you. Nobody understands you. Nobody can see the future the way you see it. Nobody knows that you're suffering to have a better life. Mira, you got this. They are just guys. You will find somebody better." This is how she'll be deceiving herself, giving herself motivational speech, rather than change and learn from her mistakes. In less than 3 years, Mira had saved over 20 million naira, and this made her very happy. Then it was only a matter of time for Mira to carry her stingy attitude to work. Rather than cook food and pack and take to the office for lunch, Mira was trying to see how she can save money, how she could save money. So instead of cooking food, Mira resorted to stealing food from her colleagues. Because the way her office was wired, they had a kitchen where they had a fridge, where everybody, when you come to work in the morning, you just go to the kitchen and put your food in the fridge, or just put your food in the cabinet if you do not want it in the fridge. Then during lunchtime, or whenever you want to take your lunch break, you just go to the kitchen and eat your food. So that was how Mira would not bring any food to work, but would go to the kitchen and would steal a few spoons from different people's food. She could collect one plantain from this food, then collect one piece of meat from another food, then collect 3 spoons of rice from another food. And she would do it in such a way that you would not even notice that anything was removed. It was only a matter of time before her colleagues, Chioma, started wondering, this is my food. Every time I come, my food is not the way I brought it. Like, it looks like somebody removed something, but I'm not so sure. Like it's not as if something huge was removed, but this food was tampered with, Chioma said aloud one day. And her colleague, Ireti, who was there, nodded in agreement and said, "Me too, yes, I have actually noticed it. My food is never the same way. My food doesn't look the same way. For the past 2 months, it looks as if my food is being tampered with. But then I didn't know how to mention it, because how do I accuse anybody of stealing our food? Everybody here is being paid very well, so food is not a problem for anybody working in this organization," Ireti responded. So after that, Mira took a break for 1 week and stop stealing her colleagues' food. But after a while, she resumed when she felt that everybody had let their guard down, and she began stealing her colleagues' food again, especially Ireti's food. Ireti liked to cook different delicious foods. She would make plantain and egg sauce. She would make fried rice. Ireti was someone that loved to cook, and so brought different amazing dishes to the office every day. And that was how Mira was eating different amazing dishes every day without spending one kobo. In her mind, she was saving her money. Unknown to her, that Ireti had begun to suspect her. As a matter of fact, she had one day seen her eating her food. Mira did not know that she was just behind the door, and Mira brought out her food and started eating it. So Ireti decided to teach her a lesson, because everyone knew that Mira was stingy, but they did not know that she would go to this extent of trying to save money by stealing other people's food. So she decided to teach her a lesson. So one day she came to the office with spaghetti stir fry and turkey. And as usual, Mira went to the kitchen and stole Ireti's food. She took about 5 spoonfuls of Ireti's stir-fry spaghetti and took like 3 bites of turkey. And then she packaged the food back and kept it as if she had not touched it. Then she came out of the kitchen smiling and happy. As she returned to her workspace, Ireti was just looking at her from the other end and was smiling because she knew that drama was about to happen. Ireti had mixed the food with a medicine that was supposed to loosen her stool and make her start purging instant diarrhea. That was what Ireti had done. And in no time, Mira's stomach began to turn. She became very uncomfortable. My tummy. Ireti came close and said, "What is it? What is it? What happened? Are you okay?" And Mira responded and said, "I'm fine, just that my tummy is mumbling. I feel unwell." Mira replied, and Ireti pretended to console her. She did as if she was not the one that was responsible for the tummy ache. And in less than 5 minutes later, Mira could not hold it anymore. She ran to the toilet to defecate because she was seriously purging. And in the next 5 hours, Mira had visited the toilet over 20 times. And at some point, she passed out in the office because she had lost a lot of fluid. And so they had to rush her to the hospital. Ireti was so happy. She was happy that her plan had worked perfectly. She had enough evidence that it was Mira that had been stealing her food and stealing their food all this while. Meanwhile, Mira had to be admitted because they needed to monitor her to be sure that she was okay. She was placed on drip and she was given some drugs to stop the stooling. So she had to sleep over in the hospital that day. So by the next day, she was discharged. And when she went home, she got the wildest shock of her life. Her home had been robbed. It had been burgled. Everything was upside down. Her chairs, everything, as if somebody was looking for something. The first thing Mira did was to run straight to her bedroom. And she lifted up the rug and opened the hole where she hides her money. And lo and behold, all her money, all her life savings was gone. Mira fell on the floor screaming, "Hey, whoa! Hey, whoa! I am finished. I am finished. My money is gone. Who took my money? Who did this to me? How did they know my money was here? Who did this to me? Who did this to me?" Mira said as she broke down in tears. All her life savings since she started earning was gone. All her suffering, all the sufferhead she was doing, not eating good food, fresh foods, eating stale foods, dead chicken, going to Katangwa market to go and buy okrika, all those things was to no avail because all her savings were gone. Mira was wailing and wailing and wailing and wailing. She had to call her best friend Chinaza, who rushed to see her immediately. Chinaza was shocked. Mira, how could you have kept over 20 million naira in your house? Who does that in a hole? In a hole, Mira. How? So all this you're suffering. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Chinaza said as she tried to comfort her friend. But Mira was inconsolable. She wept, she cried, she wept non-stop. So after a few days, she returned to the office. But to her greatest shock again, she was met with a termination letter. She was sacked from her office for stealing her colleagues' food for over 4 months and endangering their lives. She tried to appeal and beg and everything, but all her appeal fell on deaf ears. Mira had lost everything. Everything. She had lost her life savings. She had lost her job. She had lost everything. She was so broken. For many days, she was crying and weeping, wishing that she could turn back the hands of time. But it was already too late. She remembered how she deprived herself of basic things, as in basic things, not even designer bags, wigs, and all of that, just basic things, just so she could save money. And then somebody had come and carted away with all the money. At some point, Mira began to behave like someone that was mental. Her best friend Chinaza had to take her to her home to care for her and look after her. But then Mira had learned her lesson that life is for the living. And she swore to herself that when next she lands a good paying job, she was never going to save a kobo in her life. She was going to spend everything. She was no longer going to save anymore. Hi besties, it's your favorite storyteller, Omalicha. Thank you so much for watching my story to the end. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one as usual. What do you think? Do you think that Mira was mentally ill for her to be depriving herself like that? Like, could that be a mental illness? Also, do you know anybody that behaves just like Mira? That they cannot spend their money. They're always saving and saving and saving for the rainy day, saving and saving and saving and depriving themselves. Have you ever met anybody like that? Please share your interactions with me. Then finally, do you think that she actually learned her lesson? Because now she's swearing that she would never save a day in her life. It just looks like Mira is an extremist. It's either she's going to be saving too much or spending too much. Like there's no balance. Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section. What do you think about this story? I would like to hear them. And please support your homegirl, Omalicha, by subscribing to my channel, liking my videos, and sharing with your loved ones. So now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories. Bye.